Hello and welcome friends to DAGS Leather. My name is David, and in today's video we'll be working with this custom-made utility pouch bag in contrasting leather colors. So a few weeks ago a friend of mine asked me to craft her a few leather goods that were supposed to be a part of a family of products. Her idea was to make a portable office that included a large briefcase, two small utility pouch bags, and some other small items. She showed me a few renders of what she wanted to do, and after a few weeks of talking, I started working on the idea with this utility bag at first. So once the design was finished, the first thing was to make a template for each of the pieces of the bag, and we start by working with the side part since it's the fastest piece to make, and it's the one that will tell us how this colorful leather behaves with the glue and stitching. It was not exactly my favorite leather to work with since it was very slippery and hard to make a straight cut with the blade, but it did a good job in the end. To begin with, I glued two orange leather pieces together and printed a template of each piece and with some tape fixed it to the leather and went on and punched out each hole with a pair of round chisels and a poly mallet. Since the bag was not completely straight, rather had some rounded sections, marking and making each individual hole was more convenient and guaranteed that each stitch of the bag was stitched where it needed to be.
Have you seen the captain? Tell him that I'm looking for him to turn the ship around and put me back on solid ground. Have you seen the Sandman wandering the hallway? Tell him I could really use some sleep and a sensible lead. And all these stories remind us who they are.
So again, this was the first time using this leather, not really sure where she got it from. My friend actually provided me with the leather and snaps for the project, and the leather actually looked nice. It had a very nice vibrant orange color, but cutting it was another story since it wasn't easy to keep a straight cut as with vegetable tan leathers. This leather was very soft and it was best to pass the blade several times to make the cut as straight as possible instead of trying to do it in one go and then realizing the cut turned out to be completely irregular. For the stitching of this project, I used some filo chinois linen thread in orange color, which matched pretty good with the color of the bag. Now, since the leather was very soft, it was necessary to tap each stitching with a leather hammer in the end. This made the stitch look slightly flat, but still unnoticed because it blends well with the orange color of the leather. And to paint the edges of the project this time, we'll be using a new product, which is this base coat, and then applied some acrylic paint. Now, a side note on this, we actually had very little time to finish these goods, and ordering a heatable edge paint was not an option since this had to be done in a few days, so I had to work with supplies that I already had in the workshop, and because of how soft the leather was, I didn't want the edge paint to dry and looked all rough. So I decided to use this base coat that I'm planning on using on a leather belt for another crafting video. The base coat was very easy to apply and it dried completely in around 20 minutes. And then I went on and applied some acrylic leather paint from Angelus Paint in grey color. Again, because of the limited time, we had to improvise and use what was available at that time. Once the paint was completely dry, I went on and buffed and polished it using some Tokonole burnishing gum and a small piece of canvas cloth, as you can see. Now for the front side, since the piece will have a small magnet in between the leathers, I had to first position the template on the back side of the gray leather piece place the magnet where it was supposed to go, and then glue the orange piece together. And to give more stability to the template and avoid damaging it too much, this time I went on and glued it to a small piece of thin cardboard. Now, when placing the magnet on the leather, I realized how well the glue worked. I really wasn't expecting the glue to hold a small metallic piece in place, but it did a good job and made things easier when gluing the back side of the leather to the main part. So because the template was now stiff with the cardboard, I couldn't use the round chisels directly as with the side part. Rather needed to first mark where the stitching holes would go and then remove the template and punch them individually. Once we're done with that, we can cut out the piece, stitch the upper part of the front side, and paint and seal the upper edge as we did previously. To round the edges of this part, I went on and used a coin since it was the same diameter as in the template, and it gave the leather more stability when passing the blade. Once the front part was finished, we could move on and stitch both leather parts together. First, we need to glue them slightly right at the very edge of the back, not only to fix both pieces together while stitching, but to maintain them strongly together when sanding and painting the edge. If they're not glued, then they could separate right at the edge of the joint while painting, and it can make the edge look really bad.
shadows in the dark tonight. Just glowing, glowing and soaking up the starlight. I wanna know you, but not know who you are. Can you tell?
So once we're done with the stitching, we could hammer the edges to keep them flat once again and use a Dremel to sand out any irregularities before applying the base coat and edge paint.
Can we be shadows in the dark tonight? Just glowing, glowing and soaking up the starlight. I wanna know you. Can we be shadows in the dark tonight? Just glowing, glowing and soaking up the starlight. 'Cause I wanna know you, but not know who you
Finally, the back part of the pouch was made the same way as the front one. This part, however, had the magnet right at the top and a large hole in the middle of the flap section. So we need to first take care of those things before stitching it to the rest of the bag.
just glowing, glowing and soaking up the starlight. I wanna know you. Can we be shadows in the dark tonight? Glowing, glowing and soaking up the starlight. Oh, 'cause I wanna know you. I wanna know you.
Since I didn't have any hole puncher of the exact diameter of the hole of the flap, I had to pass a smaller hole puncher throughout the entire circle until the hole was at the desired diameter. Then I could prepare the flap section and leave it ready before stitching this part to the rest of the bag. And this means stitching around the hole we just did, around the flap of the bag, painting and sealing both sections, and just making sure everything is ready before making the final stitching.
greener grass and a smaller field. Fancy brunches, counting money, the kind of life you'd take if you could steal. I heard you're flying from the Midwest, had enough of these dirt roads, and you aren't asking for forgiveness, so it must be there is nothing I am owed. It's been a long night, chasing all the demons, just a fist fight away. It's a hard life, searching for the reasons when I simply don't hold weight to make you stay. Go on, get going, baby. No more walking on the water. Please untie your Bible belt, child. You've heard enough of these our fathers. Does a heaven really make an angel wait? I've been saving for your diamond. I thought you might take my last name. I was gonna ask your father. Guess now I won't know what he would have said. It's been a long night, chasing all the demons, just a fist fight away. It's a hard line, searching for the reasons when I simply don't hold weight to make you stay. I don't think it would be worth all of the pain.
Now, since the flap is the section that will have most of the wearing time, if you're working with a similar project and you're about to stitch the side and back parts together, I recommend you pass the stitch twice by starting one stitching hole and moving backwards one section and then forward in order to keep this part stronger. The same goes when finishing the stitching of the part. This was a huge advice I received from a friend a very long time ago when I started working with leather, and is one that I still apply on every leather product that involves flaps and covers as this one. And after applying the base coat and edge paint, the last step was to polish the edge with some Tokonole burnishing gum, and the small pouch was ready. So friends, as always, I hope you have enjoyed watching this video and find it useful. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you're into leather projects and you wish to see more similar crafts, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. This small pouch was the first of a family of leather products that will be shown on the channel in the upcoming days, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be the first to know whenever I post a new video. Again friends, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.